Hey guys, this is Flash coming at you with another special winter weather update. Tonight we're going to go back to the weekend storm threat and just kind of discuss what's changed the past couple of days in terms of what we should expect for the Friday to Sunday timeframe. Really, this threat's going to go and continue on through Monday. So we're going to have 3 days coming up from this. I would say, I would say Saturday the 8th to Monday the 10th is the time frame we need to be looking at and be watching carefully. So let's just jump in as we always do. Now, I will say just off the bat that some of these latest runs I haven't had a chance to look at, so I'm going to be looking at them with a fresh pair of eyes for the first time along with you guys. So now the 12Z GFS I have viewed, and we note the our main high of interest still camping out over Iowa. That's been advertised consistently the past couple of days. It jumps over to Illinois at hour 66. So we're getting at, midnight Friday into Saturday. What's interesting about the 12Z run is that we have a little bit of snow at the northern flank that might mix in during the beginning, and that's kind of based on this high centered over Ohio. But the main challenge with this system, there's actually several of them, but the main one is how quick is the low going to move with relation to this high? Is the high going to outrun it? And if so, because if it does, that is going to be a problem in terms of cold air advection, and it's going to allow warm air advection to cut down snow totals. We need this high to kind of run at the same pace. We talked a few days ago, I believe it was Sunday, about how they're running parallel tracks in a way, but they also have to keep the same pace. If this high outruns it, then our cold air source is going to be too far east, and we're going to be susceptible to warm noses as part of that warm air advection I was telling you about. And I think that when we look at WPC in just a minute, we're going to find that they side with the Euro model, and others like the Canadian that have this moving at a slower pace. But I really think that we're going to see maybe a low that goes just a little bit faster than what FPC is thinking. I'm still concerned about the high because we need that northeast confluence. Air rotates around the high in clockwise fashion, so we need cold air coming at us. It's from the north in some capacity, but there are a couple of things that are certain as we head out into day 3. For most of Saturday and Sunday, this is going to be a cold rain event. I'll just cut to the chase there and just get that out of the way. If you want all snow, I'm sorry, we're going to have to wait till we're in a more advantageous time frame with respect to Climo. Now, interesting things happen when you get into the day Sunday. First off, you can see that high over Pennsylvania, that's really enhancing the cold air damming effect in North Carolina. We in Tennessee don't get that luxury in Middle Tennessee. Now, East Tennessee, towards the mountains, you can capitalize on cold air damming. That's when you get that winds out of the northeast that kind of slam on the east side of the mountains and could dip those isotherms, allow cold air to kind of just remain like a dome near the surface, and that keeps surface temps down, and that promotes colder temps and colder precip types. We're on the other side of that a lot of times, and that's why when you look at I-40, you look at Oklahoma City, Little Rock, Nashville, Asheville, Raleigh, etc. Like Nashville has a hard time with a lot of not just southern slider systems like this, but really any system. If a low is cutting across the apps, or if it's going out to sea, like in this case, it's near Jacksonville, and that's been very consistent in recent days. You look at where we are with proximity to the Gulf of Mexico. We don't have as much land space, I guess. Like I want to say that the warm nose, this is a theory I'm proposing. I think the warm nose advection that we get coming out of the Gulf is probably because we have like an open door to it. Like just, it's that warm, mild, compromised air has less miles to travel to reach us. And normally it's not, the flow is not going to allow it to go in places like Oklahoma and the Ozarks, where you're mostly going to be dominated by continental polar air. I said continental polar, CP. Sometimes I forget my air masses, but basically cooler continental air. We're kind of in position to see just warm tropical air move in our direction. If there's any southerly component to the surface winds, chances are we're going to get some of that Gulf air. And you look at where your low is, you look where your high is. The high is a little bit further east than what I wanted, but the low is at least not cutting up towards us. So we're not going to be, typically if this is in mid-January, we're going to be almost all snow in this type of scenario. It's just kind of unfortunate we're getting this system early. Meteorology winter just started on December 1st. If we were seeing this in February, January, this would almost be all snow. I could guarantee you that. That low over Jacksonville is excellent. It's really just riding along the Gulf, and eventually it's going to cut more northeast. We'll see if this becomes a nor'easter. You can see it going from Jacksonville to just off the coast of Charleston there in just 6 hours, 96 to 101. There's some crazy jumps. This is not – we're just looking at it verbatim. I'm not saying this is going to happen. This is one run. It's an operational run of ensembles. Now, I think our main time frame of interest could be Sunday night to overnight Monday. You could see that rain changing back to snow, and it kind of weakens that precip batch where, if you go back to let's look at the 0Z run from yesterday, around the same time that upper level low feature, there was more convection with those snow showers and thus more accumulation. That upper low was right on top of us. This kind of gets some more advanced meteorology. You have a surface low and you have an upper level low. They're not over top each other. They're often removed over hundreds of miles. The upper low usually is trailing the surface low, and it's usually going to be north and west of it. Not always, depends on the tilt of the trough, but you can see that in the time frame, since we haven't looked at 18Z yet, that those snow showers becoming more scattered and maybe less charged, I guess. It doesn't look that great. I mean, it looks like whatever precip falls, what is this, noon on Monday? It looks like we're going to get some snow on the backside, but will we just see flurries or snow showers? Will we see accumulating snow? Well, let's see. Now, the 18Z is my least favorite run of the GFS. We're talking operational, but at this point, we're getting close to within that 84-hour time frame in which we could look at more short-term models like the NAM, and I'm going to show the NAM in just a little bit. Once again, that high is doing this awkward dance across Iowa there. 54 60. The 18Z GFS hasn't finished initializing, but I think we could at least run it. You could see, again, consistency, 72 hours out from now. So this is, what is this, noon on Saturday. If you live along the Tennessee-Kentucky state line on the Tennessee side, you're seeing snow. Just for a little bit, not a whole lot. And then maybe freezing rain. You're going to have a little bit of a window before it turns to sleep freezing rain. You see that warm air advection. You can see the contours rising. If you just were to pick one like the 546 line, you can see that pushing north into Kentucky. It's going to be a cool rain for most of Saturday, early Sunday. There's no way around it. A lot of this precip is going to fall as rain, and it drives me crazy that we're going to be in the mid-upper 30s. With so much precip falling, this could be all snow. But there's some northwest Tennessee, how much cold air is going to catch up to this before the main precip shield goes away. You can see another high over Wisconsin here that, it's kind of moving down to the southwest. I don't know if that's going to really help our chances. That's going to suppress the precip, kind of scoot it out there. The low in this case is way off the coast compared to the 12Z run. Look at this, 102. Again, I'm looking at this for the first time. The low is more out to sea on the 18Z run. So the track is different. It's flatter. Still not a bad look if you live in Western North Carolina. I think you're safe. I think Southwest Virginia, you're safe. Eastern Kentucky, you're safe. Eastern Tennessee, you're looking good. I mean, look at 96. There's a deformation band. There's a trowel going on right here. You can see those dark blues. You got enhanced omega, enhanced lift going on. Thermals, as we've known for days now, thermals has been That's the main problem we're going to have to troubleshoot together. All right, enough of the GFS. Makes me sad. Let's look at Canadian real quick. This is just for show. We'll just... Why won't you load? I need you to run for me. All right. Hope you enjoy my random singing. High is more over Illinois with the Canadian. Did you notice that? The high is over Illinois, not Iowa. Interesting, but same thing, just mostly rain. What is this low doing? Canadian, what are you smoking? This is not running along the Gulf. It goes from like Biloxi to, it's going like, it's already cutting northeast. It's north of Birmingham. It loses the high here, and the Canadian is off because it's losing the high influence, and that's why it's cutting northeast like that. That's not going to happen. And then it goes from just north of Birmingham to due east to Charleston, Myrtle Beach. Compromises thermals in North Carolina. I don't think that's going to happen. But look, we like this. Now there's a cold bite for the Canadian, but at 1:20, 6 a.m. on Monday morning. Look at that nice snow. That's going to lay down an inch or two, right? We'll do accumulations on Pivotal, but that looks promising there. NAM, what is it? We'll do a 12Z. That's it. Well, okay, 12. We only could go out to 84 hours on the NAM, so we might as well just camp out at let's go to 40 hours. Why not? That high is further south. Okay. Between the NAM, the Canadian, and the GFS, where that high is parked is very different. It's GFS, Iowa. NAM, Illinois. This high is more in Missouri. Now it's in Illinois. It's dancing all over the place. It's stronger. It's a stronger high, which is why you have frozen precip south of 40 here in Tennessee that rises. So we know that some of us in Middle Tennessee, we're going to see frozen precip to start for like a few hours before it goes to all rain. So it's worth noting because if you're out and about, when it's sleet, freezing rain, snow's falling, that could compromise driving conditions even if it's eventually going to be washed away. So you want to pay attention to the timing because we can't go any further down. All right, so we'll just close it off with tropical tidbits. Go to Pivotal. Actually, real quick, let me go to the buff kit. I didn't show you this. Another one of my favorite weather sites. I got this saved, and I'm going to find all these different save sites. I have a bunch. You can see here. I just got a bunch. I forget about sometimes, but I think this is the 12Z GFS. It gives you like a play-by-play. It gives you like the degrees and where the wind direction and speed and knots and how much QPF is expected to fall under the frozen under the type. I think these are surface temps, so I think that these are not 850 or 700 temps. So you could have a column that's mostly freezing until you get to the surface. Look at the 8th. That is Saturday, 12Z. You could see what I was talking about earlier. There's going to be, precip's going to move in and start like a rain-snow mix. This is a Nashville airport, which means if the Nashville airport's experiencing this, then if you live in an outlying community, especially north of the airport, I think you're going to see some frozen precip to start out. Rain and sleet a little bit later. This is, again, you don't take this verbatim. You just we're still gauging trends this far out, but see mostly rain. And you can see the amounts over here. We're going to see, well, that's a rolling total, I think. So look at this, about an inch and a half, not an inch and a third of pure rain. And then there's that rain snow mixture on the backside. Temps, oof, if the buff kit's right, I wouldn't be surprised if things sticks. But you look at on the backside, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. 0.3 of snow, if it were to stick at a 10-to-1 ratio, would still be less than half an inch. So just really not impressive. That's all I want to do there. Okay, so pivotal. Let's look at. I want to look at upper level dynamics if we can. Let's jump out to 84. I want to jump out to 84 hours, and I'm going to, if my Chrome will let me. There we go. Sometimes you just got to maximize the window. Let's look at that surface and precipitation. Can I close this? Why am I not being able to? Maybe I need to click this. All right. Upper aerodynamics. So I want to show you vorticity is the amount of spin. It could be an indicator of a lift and spin in the atmosphere. So we'll go 850. Your critical thicknesses are often at 700 and 850. We want to just real quick, just going off the 12Z run of the GFS. I want to look for, where's the energy, where's that upper level low, where's it going to track? Are we going to get, if we can get the vort maxes rotating south of us at all levels, that would be excellent. So we note, let's go back to 108 here. We note, I thought that was a closed off, never mind. Let's just go down to, let's check 700 real quick. This is mostly for my eyes. I'll be honest. I don't expect a whole lot of you to really know what I'm looking at, but I think part of the problem that Nashville's going to see with this system is we're just I just think that thermals in that critical thickness zone are just going to be too compromised. I think they're just going to stay. The melting layer is going to be too great throughout, and we're not going to get vort cooperation. I mean, at least as it stands. We need to look at the ensembles. I'll come back, maybe do some dynamics on my own later. Let me do. Where's the? Sorry guys, I wish I could. Oh, I can move myself. Sweet. I didn't realize that. Sweet. I didn't realize I could do that. Still learning. All right, let's look at just total snow accumulations because that's what you care about. That's why you're here. So this is, we'll do one, let's just jump out a week just because that will give us how much snow we can expect. And this is per the 12 ZGF as a 10 to 1. That is 1 inch of rain equals 10 inches of snow going by that ratio. There's some decent totals. I mean, isolated amounts of 2. I see an isolated amount of 4. Cumberland Plateau cashes in with the isolated amount of 8 there. I think this is overblown for sure. A little bit over here, but not too much. I think that the theme is correct. There's going to be more snow over the Ozarks, northern Arkansas, southern Missouri. It's going to weaken a little bit. I didn't mention this earlier, so I want to be specific about this. I think, if you blend all the models together, what you get this low is a Miller. It's not a true, genuine Miller A, but it's a kind of a hybrid Miller B. And a Miller A, that low tracks along the Gulf Coast, cuts northeast and right to the coast in northeaster type fashion. It stays together. It doesn't break apart. With a Miller B, as it approaches the Appalachians, areas just to our east, it weakens, and then there's a transfer of energy where like the parent low dies and kind of spawns and initiates a new low to the south and east of it. That kind of ties into what I was saying about you got that surface and upper low that aren't oftentimes not stacked over another. They're spread out. They're slanted over a southeast to northwest line oftentimes. So it will be interesting to see how strong this low is if it could hold together. I really want it to not be too fast, but not too slow. It needs to just kind of, we have to thread the needle. We need we need pace in our favor right now. We don't really have that. Just speaking the truth, 18Z amounts. At least up to 114. Do we have anything shown? Let's try 108. All right, so 18Z GFS. So a little better for just northwest. So for me, I am right on that 2-inch dividing line. Not too bad, but you get to the Nashville at 0.7. And I don't know, we'll see with this one. See, there's going to be a warm nose that cuts into Middle Tennessee. Right now, this warm nose is a little east of Nashville. That kind of eats at not like the Western Plateau. What do you call that? The Highland Rim counties of that border the plateau don't do so well. I think because there's some warm air advection as winds. If there's any western flow off the plateau, as that air goes down, it heats up. So I really feel like that makes sense here. But I think that the consensus is like the bullseye for this event is going to be Western Carolina and Southwest Virginia, and even the central North Carolina and Central Virginia. The question is when will the mixture, for Raleigh, like will be a sleep mixture cutting these totals. So you don't take these verbatim. But I think for us, we're not looking at a whole lot of frozen precip outside of this. Like we might see a little bit of freezing rain, but not a whole lot to skew these totals. It's going to be rain or snow, I feel like. NAM is just too far. NAM explodes. NAM also has a cold bias. It kind of lumps all frozen types in the snow category. Not going to happen. So I think we're going to pivot off of pivotal weather. We're just looking for trends. WPC. Let's look at what they got. Interactive weather maps on day 4 through 7. Actually, before I do that, let me jump in and do this real quick. These are just a few other graphics. This is the GFS ensembles. I showed you the GFS 12 is the operational. That's one member. There are many. And you take the average, the mean of all of them, and you get this look here. So for Nashville, we're on that 2-inch dividing line. Williamson County, same thing. There's that warm nose east of Nashville I was telling you about. So, and then there's that warm nose in the valley. So I think it's capturing the valley, the valley parts of Tennessee that are more susceptible to that warm air advection. Really, these totals are going to come down to late Sunday and early Monday, how much energy is left over as the low cuts off the Carolina coastline. How close will it be to land? Well, how far will it be out to sea, and how much precip will be around to kind of meet with that cold air rotating on the backside. We need this to kind of pivot up so that we can still get we're still close enough to get convergence, that horizontal convergence where we're still getting a transfer of energy over to us. We can get some enhanced lift out of that. So we don't want the low to be too far out to sea. The angle which it cuts is going to be key. One of the key ingredients. That's the GFS ensemble. This is another look, I think, at the GFS ensembles. You can see how, I think west of 65, south of 40 might do well if this is right. If you get to that blue, then you're 2 inches. So we'll see. And I think these are, again, either overblown for Central North Carolina, but still going to be a good hit for them. This will be a Carolina special. This is the EPS. So similar. There's some similarities between the EPS, that's the European ensembles, and the GFS ensembles. So there's continuity there. The question is, though, like even just a 30, 40, 50 mile shift in the storm, as it's still early in the sampling process, it'll go a long way. I'll just say that. And the 12Z GFS operational taken verbatim would be less than half an inch, as I showed you off the buff kit. So the operationals are less impressive than the ensembles right now. Now, WPC, they're great. They're a great resource to look for trends. Let's zoom in. And we want to go to Sunday. If we get that green, that's 10 to 30% chance of what is it? It's you want this 1/4 inch liquid equivalent of snow sleet. So that would be around 2.5 inches of snow sleet mixture. And you can see we're not far. Nashville's not far from that green. Clarksville, you're in it. Makes sense. Nashville is much closer to that on Monday. And for me, I would be in that green, but not by much, so I can't get too excited. But we're going to be close, Again, we're talking about 2.5 inches of snow. If you were to, let's check their 1 to 3 products if we're into that. I'm not sure. Let's go to day 1 to 3 and see if we've got anything on the end. This is I did show you this in my first video from last month when I was showing you my favorite websites. You can look at the probability for just like 1 inch of snow. So that will be interesting. I want this select. I think we're not going to be able to. All right, so we're getting into some new data here. This is a new look. So this would suggest there's not far from a 10% chance of 1 inch of snow. I mean, that's not a whole lot, but it's on the table. You can't say there's a 0 chance. There's definitely a non-zero chance we're going to get appreciable snow out of this. And this is before the main, the ideal time frame for us, which is Sunday night to Monday morning. So it's interesting that at least WPC is keeping that alive, and you get to 2, and it's pretty much between 1 and 5%. So anywho, so what's the point of all this? The point is we're still looking at the possibility of our first. Today technically we had accumulating snow, but it was like a glorified dusting. In terms of true appreciable snow, getting to that 1 inch line, I do think for most of us it's hope is alive. I'm not I'm not either encouraged or discouraged by today's trends. I'm mostly I see things that, that's good. It could work out, and that's what things that's man, that's problematic. Warm noses have historically been a bear, and I just think that, as always, it's just how much available energy, cold air advection, and precipitation and lift, how much will be at the backside. Some models say a little bit, some say a decent amount. I would say if to say we're going to get 1 inch out of this is pretty generous. I would say let's set expectations to just flakes flying, a dusting, but mostly a cold rain event. I think we'll do just fine with that for now. We just started winter. Beggars can't be choosers. Like I said earlier, if this was in the heart of winter, we'd be looking at a 4 to 6 plus inch snow event with this type of slider system. And if we can, in El Nino winter, as the one we're about to have, these are more common. So I think we can bookmark this event regardless of what the outcome is, and expect maybe another one like this, even if it's 6 to 8 weeks from now. So anyway, been talking way too much. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Feel free to holler if you have any questions. If not, I will catch you on the fry. Peace.